Hello, greetings, and welcome to the Money Flow Stock Market Review and Forecast. I'm your host, Dr. BJ Love, and I'll be bringing you today's update for Monday, October 6th, 2025. Here at the Money Flow Stock Market Review and Forecast, we use time-tested methods and indicators that helps us to navigate these markets with confidence, clarity, and calmness. Major indexes rally to fresh all-time highs. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ climbed to record highs. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ continued climbing to new all-time highs on Monday as concerns with the federal government shutdown entering its sixth day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average snapped its five-day win streak and fell 63 points, settling at 46,695. The S&P 500 higher by 24 points and closed at 6,740, while the NASDAQ rose by 161 points, closing at 22,942. Breath, the heartbeat of the market, was positive. Now the VIX was lower by 28 points and settled at 1637. Now, as we reiterate every broadcast, that as long as that VIX remains below the threshold of 20, which has been tested, proven, and tried to be a line in the sand, the market continues to grind higher. And that is what we have been noticing over the past year. Crude oil finished higher by 90 cents and closed at $61.78 a barrel. Gold prices soaring and keeps going. Finished higher by $75.60 or $75.76 points and settled at $3,984.50 an ounce. Silver prices backed off 13 cents and settled at $48.69 an ounce. Bitcoin closed the session higher. It's been going higher and higher day by day, and it settled at 125,093. Now, the equity markets continue to ignore the ongoing government shutdown, and small cap stocks continued to outperform, with the rest of 2000 posting its seventh consecutive record high. Wow. So let's go ahead and get into these charts and see what's really happening so we can visualize this introduction. So we're going to start here with our S&P, that's silver, but we're going to begin with a weekly chart of our S&P 500. And if you've been with us for a while, you know that we predicate our success on knowing and understanding our long-term chart, which is the dominant trend. Now remember, long-term charts dominate, short-term charts fluctuate. So we look at our long-term chart and we can see that ever since we got the signal here in May of this year on the S&P 500, it has been climbing. It's seemingly no end in sight. So that is how we project each week whether we're going to remain in the market or take our profits and run. But we haven't been able to do so because the signal here, this rising moving average, is a green line, and we have a proprietary software that lets us know when the 30-week moving average is green, it is rising. And if the price is above that rising moving average, we remain invested in that stock. As simple as that. I mean, it's so simple that it's really hard to understand, but it takes the fear and it takes the uncertainty out of investing in the market. When the market is rising, you want to be invested. So that is what we're doing right here with the S&P 500. Now, if you want to move on and look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, even though it backed off a little bit, you see the same pattern here. Each one of these price bars here, these blue ones, they represent 1 week of price action in the market. And every week since we got our signal here back in May, we've been going up, 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 up. And our line in the sand, our 30-week moving average has been moving up as well. And the price has been above that rising moving average. That is your signal. That is your preface. That is your fundamental to stay invested in the market as long as this price action remains above a rising moving average. Now let's go ahead and we're going to look at the NASDAQ composite. Beautiful chart that gave us the signal back here in May. The first, let's see, around May 12th, 2025. And every week it has been going up, 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 up. Price bars, simple, remaining above a rising moving average. Therefore, we stay invested with, as we expressed in the introduction, these time-tested methods and indicators help us to navigate these markets with confidence, clarity, and calmness. So we don't panic, we stay calm. We have our also our confirming indicator. I forgot to mention that on the other two. The MACD, the what they call it, the moving average convergence, divergence, is our supporting indicator that lets us know as well that each week we project higher prices in the market. That is the NASDAQ composite. Now we're going to move on to the Russell 2000 and similar pattern. So with all four of these major indices being in a long-term uptrend, our takeaway that this market is still today and this week in a long-term uptrend or bearish posture. So therefore, we stay invested. We keep making money week after week after week after week after week until we see a difference or a change in this pattern recognition, supply and demand. That applies to the supermarket as well as the stock market. Simple economics. We just keep it simple here. Now, what has been working for us in this market is gold and silver. So it's just simple. We're going to look at gold. Gold hit, this week like $4,000 an ounce, $4,000.10 an ounce. So this is our short-term chart of gold. It is a daily chart. And as you can see, it looks about the same as the weekly chart. And we have a saying here at Money Flow Stock Market Review and Forecast, if your weekly chart and your daily chart are moving in the same direction, you have a very, very, very strong trend. And you continue in that trend. And one of the stocks that have been working for us in this gold is KGC. What can I say? We purchased the stock way back here when we got the signal. And let me see if I can move some of this stuff. Okay, move it out of the way. Around $9. And that was back in January of this year. And we have gotten as high as $25.79 here, actually this week. So it continues to go higher and higher. And we have what we show here is a what we call a bull stack. And these are moving averages on a daily basis that form a channel. And ever since we got the signal here on KGC, Kinross Gold, at $9 back in July, it has been stellar. It has been immovable It has been unstoppable. We had a couple of days of pullback. However, we hit a new high today of $25.79. And that is just since July. This is July, August, September, October. In 3 months, we have over a 250% return because we understand the power of the trend. This is the daily trend. This is the weekly trend. They're moving in the same direction. And it has given us very, very good profits. Now, that is in the gold sector. Let's go ahead and look at something opposite what has been happening in the oil sector. That's different. This is a weekly chart of the energy sector of oil. Oil has been going down, 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 down. And we have in our proprietary software to give us a red line in the sand, if you will, or a red threshold that the moving average is moving down. Simple process and methods. When these price bars are below a falling moving average. Now you don't want to be invested in that because every week you're losing money. Every week that stock is going down, down, down. That's what's been happening with oil. You probably see lower prices at your pump wherever you may be in the United States. So that is a look at oil. We're going to look at Bitcoin. And as you can see, Bitcoin was what we call kind of consolidating for about 4 weeks, but now it has broken out. And we are looking at looks like highs in 127,000 range. And how have we been playing Bitcoin? We like our ETF, BITF, which is about $3 and change. We first invested in this Bitcoin derivative, not derivative, I want to say, but it's associated with Bitcoin, and it was around $1.45. So that happened last month, early last month in September, about 9/9. We got that signal. We jumped in, and it got up to about 360. However, it backed off and was, kind of fluctuating along with Bitcoin. But here's our method. Here's the method to our madness. As long as these price bars stay above these rising moving averages, we have what we call a bull stack here with these moving averages separated like a fan. And now we just got a re-entry signal here at around $3.43. We can add to our position, but still, again, quite a nice return on, what are we at? 1 month. We were at $1.45. Right now we're at $3. We're talking about doubling your money. This system works. Is it perfect? No, but it works most of the time. We make major profits in gold, in silver, in Bitcoin, and we stay out of those stocks that are falling like oil. We're going to take a look at one more here. We're going to look at the VIX, because let's say, as long as the VIX stays below the threshold of 20, we tend to grind higher in the markets. So what's our takeaway here? As this VIX is right now, it's still below 20. We're going to look at it. That's our short-term trend. We're going to look at it in the long-term trend. And it is below a not falling moving average anymore, but our proprietary software gives us a yellow when it is just moving sideways. So what does our takeaway? As we forestated, market is still in a bullish posture. So with that, we're going to say every day, in every way we get better and better every day. And every way we grow more prosperous, successful, and victorious, and God's love continues to surround us and fold us and enwraps us, and we go forth in perfect peace and ever increasing prosperity. God bless all the best from all of us here at